Hey, welcome to the BeMoHappy Show, the podcast that's all about boosting your happiness and helping you navigate life challenges. I'm your host, Morris Mo Chassel, and I'm so excited that you're here with us today. This is the last episode of season 6, the reaction reset, turning triggers into tools for growth. And if you've been with me all the way through, I want you to take a moment and honor yourself. That's not easy work, but it's life-changing work. The whole purpose of this season was just to help bring awareness to us. And because look, I think the better we understand those triggers and the better we understand why we respond the way that we do to certain triggers, the better and happier we are, because we're not being controlled by someone else's, I guess, just the way that they treat us, because we have a better understanding that we are in control of our own emotions. Today's episode is your reflection room. We'll revisit the emotional lessons, reset your intentions, and give you some practical tips to keep rising higher long after this episode fades out. Because something I don't really care for is like motivational speeches, because a lot of times it leaves me feeling empty, like 20, 30 minutes after that speech, because it's like, what do I do now? And I think that's what this whole podcast is all about, is really helping to teach how to move forward and grow and just be the best version of yourself and truly loving yourself. So let's go back and revisit the path we walked together. Episode 1, what triggers really mean. We explored the nervous system's role in emotional reactions, how every trigger is a signal, not a setback. Episode 2, emotional echoes. We discovered how unhealed moments from the past hijack our present responses, inviting us to heal what once was frozen in time. Episode number 3, the control illusion. We released the myth that control keeps us safe and leaned into trust and surrender as our new protection. Episode 4, anger isn't the enemy. We honored anger as a boundary guardian, not a flaw, learning how to channel it with clarity instead of fear. Episode 5, the shame spiral. We learned to separate our mistakes from our identity, and then how self-compassion is always more effective than self-punishment. Shame, overcoming the alcohol addiction that I've overcome. I remember those days of shame, man. Just waking up the next day and not knowing what happened. What did I say? What did I say to who? And what did I say? And just that fear of not knowing if I hurt someone or if I hurt someone's feelings. Because during those blackouts, I didn't remember. I had no memory of the last 2 hours before I fell asleep, apparently. Yeah, sad, man. But yeah, I'm sorry. I see, that's why I like structure in podcasts. Episode 6, the abandonment trigger. We confronted one of the deepest wounds, the fear of being left, and practice choosing ourselves first. Episode 7, triggers into tools. We brought it all together with the blueprint on how to observe, pause, and transform a reaction into a conscious response. Bob Proctor had a quote, and it said, discipline is giving yourself a command and following it. You've done just that. You gave yourself a command to grow, to stop being ruled by old habits, to start reclaiming your emotional agency. And even if it still feels messy, even if you're still practicing, it means you're doing it. Growth doesn't always feel like blooming. Sometimes it's crumbling, so something stronger can emerge. Sometimes we think that we're not growing or we're not evolving, we're not changing, we're not improving. But if you take a look back at where you were at a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I guarantee your mindset, your emotional well-being is way better than it's been, way better than it was. And that's the beautiful part about the growth and the journey and self-love and loving yourself. I think, man, that's so important. I think if we could just love ourselves. I recorded a podcast this morning with a couple of my friends, Miss Pam and Mr. Chase, and the concept of growth and realizing our journey and being gracious on ourselves was just so powerful. I was telling them about things I used to struggle with self-love. I would look in the mirror and I would constantly ridicule myself. Oh man, look at your big lips, look at your big nose. Like, why are your eyes like that, bro? What's wrong with you? So I would always negatively about myself. But now, like, I look in the mirror, I love you, Mo. You're awesome, bro. You're inspiration. I love you. You're so freaking cool. And it sounds weird and it feels weird whenever you first start saying that because I guess you don't want to be arrogant or anything like that. But it's just loving yourself. It's loving and appreciating yourself. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Practice it. I remember this doctor on a podcast that I watched years ago. He would said that every morning, what he recommend doing was telling yourself, I love you 10 times. I love you. And taking like some deep breaths, 10 deep breaths. And I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. 10 deep breaths. And I love you. I love you. I love you. And it's I've done it for a little bit and I don't do exactly that practice, but I do practice telling myself I love you and you're pretty. Your hair looks good today. Yeah. So let's get back to the podcast. So this here is 5 journal questions to keep your reset going and growing forward because we don't want to get stuck. We don't want to stay stagnant and we shouldn't. There's God works with and through us and God always wants us to grow and get better. That's, for example, if you make $10,000 a month, you want to make $15,000 a month. If you're making $15,000, you want to make $20,000 a month. It's because we're always trying to elevate and get better and get better. And that's what God wants for us always is fuller expansion and more growth. So 5 journal questions to keep your reset going. Number 1, what is one emotional reaction I now understand differently? Ooh, I think just being able to respond to certain people and just responding in a kind way instead of fighting fire with fire. Because I forgot who said it. I think it's Theodore Roosevelt or Eleanor Roosevelt, or Albert Einstein maybe. But you can't solve a problem at the level that the problem started. Basically, you can't have 2 negatives and expect a positive outcome. Number 2, where in my life am I ready to respond with intention? Number 3, what belief am I ready to rewrite? Number 4, what version of me am I leaving behind? Number 5, what does emotional freedom look and feel like to me? Y'all, I want y'all to pause this episode and give yourself the gift of answering these questions. It's not about being perfect. It's about honest awareness. And I think you'll appreciate the growth. And perhaps in 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, whatever you want to do. But ask yourself these questions again and see what answers you come up with and just see the difference in the growth that has happened just in that little bit of time. And I swear, like that growth mentally, spiritually is also like whenever you go into the gym and working out and you start seeing the physical differences in your body changing and like you're just yes, you get fired up. And it's the same way spiritually. Whenever you go back to your journal and see something that you were dealing with at one point, and then you're like, man, bro, I can't believe I was there back then. But like, it's so incredible. It just makes life incredible and grateful for everybody. Just knowing that each and every one of us is exactly where we need to be. And you're not alone. This is not a journey that you have to go in alone with. I'm with you all the way. I love you. I do. I want you to be your best and truest self always because sometimes we get lost with comparison and social media and all this craziness. The other day I was talking to someone and they were just talking about how they feel like the world is getting worse or off. And For me personally, I feel like it's getting better. I feel like there's more love on the planet than ever has been. I mean, I understand all this stuff that's happening in these countries, and it's sad. It is totally sad. But I always, not always, but now always from this point on till forever. But I always want to see the good in people, no matter what, because even a person that's a murderer, that doesn't really make him sure it's maybe it's a bad person, but he's just a lost person. Like he doesn't know better. And in this lifetime, in this journey that person's walking through and walking with, is he's just where he needs to be at. I mean, hopefully in his next life, he comes back better, or you know what I mean? Because I think we all develop and grow and get better always. And if you really think about it, the last 3 generations, 4 generations, it's just getting better and better and better. And that's so exciting. I love it. Another quote with you guys from Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale once said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So success is different for everyone and anyone. Sometimes our goal is to be at peace with ourselves. And how we do that is embracing ourselves, loving ourselves, understanding that this is a journey and we're constantly going to get better and better and better if that's what we're working towards. No matter what, you're going to get better. If you got that conscious idea up here and you have God with you, working with you and through you, you're successful. You're doing it, baby. You're doing it. You're getting better. You're evolving. This isn't the end. It's your new beginning. You peel back in patterns. You've sat in discomfort. And most importantly, you stayed. That's powerful. That's sacred. That's you choosing to be more happy. And I love that. Good job. Good job. So here's to your reset. May you no longer be ruled by reactions. May you reclaim your responses. And may you rise higher, better, and clearer than ever. Until next time, trust yourself, talk to yourself kindly, and always be more happy.